The aftermath of Gideon. Today's focus: the seizure of power and the destruction of Abimelech. Fine Foods, 7 minutes a day, 1 Bible a year. Grace and peace, everyone. Our reading today brings us to Judges, chapters 9 through 12. Our key verse is, which is better for you, to have all 70 of Jerubbaal's sons rule over you, or just one man? Judges 9. This is Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, or Gideon, speaking to the men of Shechem, the city of his birth. First, let's understand the judge Gideon. He defeated the Midianites, leading 300 warriors to victory over an enemy of over 100,000. So he achieved a great victory, freeing them from the oppression of the Midianites. As mentioned earlier, the term judge refers to a military leader, and also a leader who led the people. His story unfolded in stages. Gideon occupies a large portion of the book of Judges. Today's discussion is mainly on his son, Abimelech. Gideon had another name, Jerubbaal, which means let Baal contend with him. When he went out to battle, he broke down the altar of Baal. From this story, we know that in those days, the Israelites were worshipping Baal, which caused them to take their eyes off the Lord. So when he broke down the altar of Baal, others objected, but his father supported him. If Baal really is a god, he can defend himself. This is the meaning of Jerubbaal. So Judge Gideon defeated the enemy and brought 40 years of peace to the land. During his tenure, he had a good beginning. Why then did it end so badly? The end here refers to his descendants. Gideon had 70 sons. Abimelech was one of the sons born to a concubine. He murdered 70 of his brothers to seize the position of judge that Gideon had held. In the era of the judges, God did not use a hereditary system for leadership. The role was not passed to the son, but rather, when needed, God raised up the person he had chosen. This attempt at hereditary rule was influenced by the surrounding nations, where kings passed the throne to their sons. The book of Judges is characterized by disregarding the commands of the law. Because Israel had no king, everyone did as they saw fit. Abimelech is one such example. Today's reading covers chapters 9 through 12, focusing on Abimelech. Prior to this was Gideon and the fleece of wool he used to seek signs. He sought confirmation and won a victory with few against many. His lineage marks the later downfall. This refers to Abimelech. Following this are the accounts of 6 other judges. Let's look at the text. The aftermath of Gideon. Abimelech said, "Ask all the citizens of Shechem, which is better for you, to have all 70 of Jerubbaal's sons rule over you, or just one man. Remember, I am your flesh and blood." Judges 9. Since Gideon had died, Abimelech wanted to rise up and seize power. He gathered the support of Shechem, the city of his birth. Therefore, Gideon's concubine was likely not an Israelite, but a local Canaanite. As mentioned earlier, although polygamy was permitted for a time, it was clearly not ideal, especially intermarriage with local foreign women, which caused many problems. So he incited the people of Shechem to rise up and eliminate his 70 brothers. Here is a brief summary. Judge Gideon defeated the Midianites and saved Israel, so he was Israel's leader, and the land had peace for 40 years. He married many wives and concubines and had 70 sons. After his death, Abimelech, the son of the concubine from Shechem, rose to seize power and killed the other 70 brothers who were in Ophrah. However, the final result was that he himself was defeated and killed by one of the surviving brothers, Jotham. It was a bad ending. Because Israel had no king, everyone did as they saw fit. This can be said to be the aftermath of Gideon. Earlier, we mentioned that Gideon was a mighty warrior, also known as Jerubbaal. 300 warriors defeated an army of over 100,000. This was an immense victory. The Lord was with him. He did one thing which planted a bitter root. Let's continue reading. He said, "I will not rule over you." Yet he planted a bitter root. But Gideon told them, "I will not rule over you, nor will my son rule over you. The Lord will rule over you." Because of this great victory, The Israelites sought to make him ruler. Gideon spoke noble words. I will not rule over you, nor will my son rule over you. The Lord will rule over you. This was a correct statement, yet he left behind a bitter root. And he said, I do have one request, that each of you give me an earring from your share of the plunder. Gideon made the gold into an ephod, which he placed in Ophrah, his town. All Israel prostituted themselves by worshipping it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and his family. Judges 8. Since he had such a good beginning and spoke such right words, why did he do this one extra wrong thing? As the internet slang goes, no zuo, no die, meaning if you don't seek death, you won't die. Gideon's one wrong act was exactly that. He made the ephod out of gold. Because they had won the battle, these earrings were part of their spoils of war. Originally, the ephod itself was not an idol, but when people saw this physical object, it was easy for them to worship it. So when we worship, we become one with the object of our worship. When we marry, we become one with our spouse. I hope everyone understands what I mean. This is also why the Old Testament mentions that when we worship idols, it is committing adultery, committing sexual immorality. And this matter became a snare to Gideon and his family. In a novel or a movie, planting a bitter root leads to aftermath later. This is the meaning of a snare. Thus, it became a snare for his descendants, specifically the incident involving Abimelech. Think about it. When they were worshipping the ephod, it was like worshipping the golden calf. They were worshipping an idol. You thought you were worshipping the Lord because this was a record left by their leader who relied on the Lord for victory. So you thought you were worshipping the Lord, but actually you were worshipping an idol and committing adultery. This was not pleasing to God. Therefore, we must keep our eyes fixed on the Lord. Only then is the Lord himself reigning as king, which is what Gideon said. The Lord will rule over you. Since he said it, he should have done it. Do not shift the focus to other things or objects. Whether it is spiritual leaders or saints, their relics, their artifacts, etc., we can know and understand these things, but we must not make them objects of worship, as that will cause problems. Reading Guide to Judges. The book of Judges is characterized by disregarding the commands of the law set in the Judges' age. Chapter 9, Gideon's son Abimelech. The Seizure of Power and the Destruction of Abimelech. Chapter 10, Tola, Jair, and Jephthah serve as judges. Chapter 11, Jephthah made a vow. Chapter 12, Ibzan, Elon, and Abdon serve as judges. Today's focus, the seizure of power and the destruction of Abimelech. The aftermath of Gideon, the judge descendants' contention and profit-seeking. Fixing our eyes on the Lord is when the Lord himself reigns as king. Blessed is the one whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. Fine food 7 minutes. See you tomorrow.